You're listening to Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe, Director of Torch, the Torah Outreach Resource Center of Houston. This is the Jewish Inspiration Podcast.
And now, my friends, we resume with day number 116 on page 667 in the Treasure for Life edition of the Orchos Tzaddikim, Ways of the Righteous. Yesh yoshev lifnei chacham v'shosek v'yesh lo sachar, kegon shekivin lishmoa, v'yesh shosek v'yesh lo avera, kegon sheyachshov ma adaber lefonov, kevon she'enu yodea lahoshev likaroi. So there's two types of things. A person can be sitting in front of a wise person and remain silent, and he's going to be rewarded for it. Why? Because he wants to listen. He wants to hear. But there are others that can be silent and actually it'd be a sin. Excuse me, why? It could be a sin because he could be thinking to himself, what would I ask this person? He has nothing of wisdom to share with me. He has nothing intelligent to say. Why would I ask him? Halo eino yodea kenegdi klum. I know much more than he knows. I'm much wiser. I'm much more knowledgeable. I'm much more intelligent than him. V'yizar ma'od b'masha amar Rabbeinu Zechron Levracha shiva dvarim begolem. Our sages tell us that there are 7 signs of a fool, and a person needs to be very careful about it. V'shiva b'chacham, and there are 7 signs of a wise man. Chacham einu medaber b'fnei mishehu gadol mimeno b'chachma u'b'minyan. A wise man does not speak in the presence of someone who's greater in wisdom or in number, in years. Someone who's older than you, remain silent. They have more life experience than you. And they don't either interrupt their friend while they're talking. And they do not rush to answer. They take their time. He asks to the point and answers correctly. And he speaks about the first point first and on the last point last. And for what he did not hear, he says, I haven't heard. And we've mentioned the Talmud. The Talmud says, Al shalo shama omer lo shamati. You want to know what a wise person is? Right? Al shalo yada omer lo yadati. And what he doesn't know, he says, I don't know. You're honest. V'modala emes v'chilufeim begolem. He says, and some of the 7th virtue of someone who's wise is someone who admits to the truth. They admit. And the reverse of all of these is about the fool. The reverse of all of these. A fool will talk before someone who's wiser than them and older than them, which is, by the way, just a side point here, is that the Torah teaches us that a child is not allowed to speak before their parent. It means if a father is being asked a question by someone, the child should not be answering before the father. And he shouldn't be contradicting the father either. Even if the father is wrong, the child should not be contradicting their father. Okay, now the author continues, Amar HaChacham, the wise one said, this is generally talking about King Solomon, Mi shemidaber b'chochma u'behaskel Kimelach batavshil. Someone who speaks with wisdom and understanding is like adding salt to a dish. It just adds flavor, it adds a richness. And there is favor to the words of those who understand. Kinofech b'mishpazot zahav. It's like a ruby in a setting of gold. V'chochmas hamiskein bizuya u'devarov einam nishmoim. A poor man's wisdom, meaning someone whose wisdom is weak, that's what it's referring to, is despised. It means someone who's not intelligent. Not because they're not gifted, okay, someone who's mentally challenged, we're not referring to that. Someone who just hasn't developed their mind properly. Such a person, their wisdom is despised and their words are not heard. Im yireh adam she'ein devarav nishmarim, yelech etzel adam she'dvarav nishmarim, v'yasim devarav befiv, kidei lahashmiam, aval hu yishtok. So that if one sees that his words are not being heeded, go to someone whose words are heeded and place the words in their mouth so that they will be heeded. Meaning, if you know that your influence on someone is compromised, for whatever reason, they don't respect what you say, they don't care about you, you don't mean anything to them, whatever it may be. In such a case, maybe tell someone who does have influence so that they can influence that change. Coming from them, they'll accept it. Coming from me, no, nothing. They're not going to listen to me, but they'll listen to you. But then remain silent. Then remain silent so that it doesn't continue to harm the other person who was not listening to you till now. Klolo shel daber. Here is a general principle that summarizes all of this. Kemo she'adam osed deles lepitcho v'yesh lo eis liftoach ve'eis lisgo kach yusgo dalte piv ki yesh shtei dlasos sfasayim v'shinayim. It says, just like there is a door that sometimes is open and sometimes closed, so too there should be a door to your mouth, which is sometimes open and sometimes closed. But not only that, there's two doors to your mouth. There is the lips and there are the teeth. Be very cautious, be very weary about opening your mouth. And just as you protect your gold and your silver and your pearls in your safe, you keep them in your safe and you're very, very careful to not lose them, so too you should be cautious with your words. Vitasem is geras lemizgarta, and you put them in a safe, which is inside a safe, which is in another enclosure. Kach tasel aficha. So too a person should do with his words. Be extremely cautious about your words because it needs protection. How our early sages would be so guarded about not having idle chatter. How they took praise about, they prided themselves in not having idle chatter, not having wasteful conversation. And this is also a great tool towards a person praying with concentration. Because of all of the idle chatter that a person talks, so it has an influence on them not having proper intention and focus and concentration when they pray, because they're so busy talking with all this idle chatter. Now you're talking to God, and it seems also like idle chatter. If a person were to stop and not talk as much and not have as much what we call idle chatter, just wasteful conversation, then perhaps it would help and it would be a tremendous benefit to a person that when they do talk, particularly talking to the Almighty in prayer, it would be much more beneficial. Gamashtika higeder gadol yirashmaim, as well, silence is a great measure to protect a person to have fear of heaven. Ki efshar liyos yirashamayim belev hamar bedvarim. It's very, very difficult, virtually impossible, for one to have a lot of idle chatter, a lot of talking, a talkative person, and also be fearful of God. Ata, now that we've discussed this, yesh lefarish lecha arba she'orim al arba kitos she'ena mekablim pnei shechina. The Talmud says in Sota 42a, we brought this previously, that there are 4 categories of people that do not merit to receive the divine presence. Kas leitzim, the class of mockers, dichsiv mashach yado eslotitzim. The verse, to back this up, the verse states, the class of the mockers, he withdraws his hand from mockery, from mockers. Kas shakranim, the class of liars, the verse states, the speaker of lies will not be established before my eyes. And this is referring, the Torah says, dover shkorim lo yikon leneged einai. God says they can't be in my presence. Kasachanofim, those who are flatterers. Dichsiv kilo lefan of chanef yavo. The verse states in Job For not before him will the flatterer come. That's referring to the Almighty, and as well that the flatterer doesn't come in front of the Almighty, and as well those who speak lashon hara, kas mesaper lashon hara, yichsiv kilo el chofetz resha ata lo yagur chora. For you are not a God who desires wickedness; evil will not live with you. And this is referring to lashon hara, slander, speaking negatively about another person. Tzaddik ata Hashem, lo yogur bimgur chara. All of this is brought in the Talmud. The Talmud brings all of these verses. You are righteous, O Hashem. Evil will not dwell in your abode. Ve'ato yesh lahaskilcho eskehem u'lechalek chalkehem ki be'erech hachalokim yesh to'eles harbe lahavin be'inin al burya. He says, and now we will be explaining these four categories, for their categorization and understanding them will be of great benefit to a person. And this, my dear friends, I believe concludes day number 116. And now we are going to continue.
You've been listening to Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe on a podcast produced by Torch, the Torah Outreach Resource Center of Houston. Please help sponsor an episode so we can continue to produce more quality Jewish content for our listeners around the globe. Please visit torchweb.org to donate and partner with us on this incredible endeavor.